Welcome in everybody to the Chapter 18 DVD PTB public test build. This video, in case you guys don't know what type of video, I've done a few videos like this in the past, but if you don't know what these type of videos are, this is me running through the Survivor, like what the Survivor looks like, and of course the Prestige 3 for the Killer, because I spent time Prestige 3ing the Killer in the PTB. It took me about 11 hours to do. And I'm also going to be going through each map pretty in depth, spending around like 4 to 5 minutes running around each map and showing you guys just kind of like a general layout of the map, what the new loops look like, the new breakable walls, stuff like that. And at the very end of the video, if you're curious about the perks, just because I know so many people have seen the perks, and so I'm just putting it all the way in the back, just for those of you that may be interested in that, it'll be at the end of the video. But if you're not interested in it, that's fine. You can just watch the map tours. Those are going to be in the back. And if you're wanting to look at a particular map, I'm going to have it sectioned off. So if you mouse over the video player scroll bar or whatever it's called, you'll be able to see the names of the different maps. And you'll be able to skip to the ones that you want to see. And yeah, thank you guys for watching the video. And I hope you enjoy it. And to begin it, we got Elodie doing a little spin around of her. This is what she looks like. I, of course, don't have her Prestige 3. It took me about 11 hours to get the Killer to Prestige 3, so I'm definitely not going to do that with the Survivor. And then Elodie also has different hair, but it kind of looks the same to me. I don't really notice much of a difference. Maybe my eyes are broken. And then we also got a different top for her, as well as different pants, supposedly, but they kind of look the same to me. And I'll just read through the description of this, because people apparently like me to read the descriptions of this. If you don't like this, you can skip about a minute ahead. But it says shoulder glider, dirty blonde, a full natural hairstyle that curls just above the shoulders. And then we got Elodie, a woman who witnessed her parents' disappearance and found clues to their fate in occult artifacts. And then we got breezy crop, a loose-fitting long-sleeve crop top. The pendant was a gift from Elodie's mother, received days before their final trip together. And then we got sunset crop, a comfortable crop top that shared many adventures with Elodie. And then we got fancy slims, pants that weren't specifically made for Elodie, but they fit like they were. And then world walkers, blue, hip-hugging leggings that have traveled more than most people. Very nice. And then, of course, in addition to Elodie, we have a killer. And the killer is the twins. As you can see, let's archive things this way. This is the twins. It is conjoined twins, with the one of the conjoined twins being a bit smaller than the other. A little brother, Victor, and then Charlotte. And if we go through the cosmetics, so this is the Prestige 3, the full Prestige 3. If we switch to their Prestige 1, we'll do a little bit of a turnaround. As you can see, and they have a little sickle with a giant nail through it, and then a pack with a pan, some meat, a bedroll. We got a kettle up there, some cups. And the Prestige 1 is the actual sickle itself, which is the blade. I'm going to mess this up. Marcier. I'm probably messing that up. Tales warned of a demon who sulks the gutters of Marcier with the shimmering blade in hand. In reality, it was the battered sickle Charlotte stole from a farmer's home and modified to her liking. And that turns into Bloody Blade. The sickle, once seen in the streets of Marcier, I'm probably again saying that wrong, has been busy. And it changes to a bit more of a veiny. It doesn't really have that much blood on it, but it becomes more veiny and also starts to bleed a little bit of this like pink reddish substance. It's like it's supposed to be blood. And then the Prestige 2 is going to be for the Dress of Decay. A Dress of Decay, a moth-eaten rag that smells of sweat and smoke and turns into Red Decay. A moth-eaten rag that smells of viscera upon it. And then it makes Charlotte a little bit more bloody, covers her things in more blood. It's not that great of a Prestige, and if I'm going to be honest, I wish I had a bit more blood to her, a bit more gore, and I also wish the Prestige 2 also applied to Victor and made him more bloody. I think that'd be very, very cool, but I guess I don't know what I expected, because normally killers' powers don't get bloody with their Prestige. So I guess it is what it is. I was just hoping that this was going to be an exception, but it's fine. And then for the Prestige 3, that's the head. We got Charlotte, a young woman scorned by humanity, harboring hatred for all but her brother, and that turns into Bloody Charlotte. She wanted only to inflict humanity with the cruelty they had inflicted upon her family, which I think the Prestige 3 is okay. Makes the hat a little bit bloodier, and it makes her face a little bit bloodier as well. And all in all, this is a okay Prestige. The weapon, I kind of like. The Prestige 3 is okay, and the P2 I'm a little bit disappointed by. But it's terrible. It is what it is. And yeah. And now let us get into the actual maps. The way that we're going to be doing this, we're going to be starting off with Ormond, and then we're going to be going through Wrecker's Yard, Blood Lodge, Azarov's, Wretched Shop, and then finally Gas Heaven. And again, if you want to skip through the video, it'll be marked out so you can skip to the particular maps if you're just curious about one or the other. And I hope you guys enjoy it. All right, so we're spawning into Mount Ormond Resort. In addition to Auto Haven, this is one of the maps that had a visual improvement. Right off the bat, you can kind of see that this map is a little bit brighter, I believe, which is a bit interesting. And this is a tile that is somewhat returning to Ormond. It was with it on the initial release, I believe, and it used to actually function more like a kind of like the crane tiles. But you can't actually get into the main part of this. It's more so just something that you can loop around this rock, or if you have a lot of distance, you can loop around the entire thing itself. Of course, the killer is going to catch up to you, and you can throw this down. And one of the big things that people are going to be wondering is Ormond still like heavily imbalanced? Is it more survivor-sided? And I would have to say no. Of course, it still has its signature loops like this, which are pretty decent for survivor. But in between the actual tiles themselves, there's typically not much. And if there is something, it's tiles like this that are pretty much nothing. It has a slightly longer side, but even then, that's not that much. And if this is thrown down, the killer can very obviously like mind game it very easily. And so the filler pallets that are in between are typically not the best, but there are still some rock tiles, as you can see. The spawn variation spawned in the shack, and then these two pallets. And so this is a okay spawn for Ormond. And then going into the shack itself, it's kind of similar to the Auto Haven variants. Of course, it's more icy. Got a totem in the corner. More snow on the ground. You can see some snowshoes, a little bit of box, some skis. Of course, the shack is functionally the same. Has some openings that are blocked up, but you can of course see them. You can see the survivors. See the actual like ski lifts up above. We're gonna circle around the entire map, and then we're gonna finish it off with actually going on to the resort itself. Just because I want to give people an idea of like what spawns like over here. Like there's no pallet spawns right there. We got this building right here. Which is pretty the same. This is actually not a vault, but this is a vault, and this is a vault. And as Polly is showing, you can actually get around this, which is very interesting. I'm guessing this is intended because it doesn't feel super buggy going on there. But yeah, it's something that you can do. You can get around. Of course, we got another pallet in the corner. We got another tile. And so there's still a decent amount of tiles, but it's not like a crazy amount, and they're not all super safe. This is one thing I've noticed with the Ormond spawns is that there's always this rock formation, and this rock formation never ever spawns a pallet in any place. And so there's always going to be one side of Ormond that 100% never has a pallet outside of the building. And so that helps out with the busted loop spawning more often. But of course, makes it more killer-sided, I think. Of course, here's the loop. Or not the loop, but here's the hook. Barbed wire around it. Of course, the orange mesh stuff. Got another rock loop, which is, of course, custom to this map. Or not custom, but customary to this map, rather. Got another maze tile. Looping around. And then we got the actual snow mover. All right, and now let's actually move into the resort itself. Let's approach from this. I believe this is the front of the building, isn't it? I could be wrong. As you can see, there's a giant tarp over it with broken windows. Going inside, you can see the luggage all around. We got the very comfy fire in the middle, some beer, got some pizza boxes, some newspapers, the killer at large. We got Polly serving up beer. And of course, we got behind here, got some dirty dishes, stuff like that. Got some apparently vodka. And of course, there's the, if the basement doesn't spawn a killer shack, it'll spawn right here. Got another newspaper. Oh wait, can we get a better look at what this says? Survivors said, I can't really make out what that says. It says something, but I can't really make it out. Again, if you know what that says, be sure to tell me. And of course, we're going to go around real quick again before I start talking about the breakable walls. We've got some lockers over here. We got a pallet spawning right here. And I think a pallet does also spawn right here. I could be wrong, though. Got a welcome desk for rentals. Snowboards and skis. Little old computer. And then going up the stairs, you can see through the frosted glass a little bit. Got a vending machine, got some sodas. Can't really read any of the soda names. Got an ATM for luggage. Looking around the corner, there's also this pallet still. This is a very safe pallet. Once it's dropped, the killer has to break it. And then over here, we have a window, which can be could be used to pretty good effect, especially if the survivor is running this way. They can vault the window, and they can gain a little bit of distance from the killer. And yeah, so going into it. Oh, and also, I kind of wanted to show this. I don't know if anybody cares about this, but I'm going to show it anyways. The actual Legion art is still here, but it's, of course, very faded. I'm guessing weathered with time. The Legion. All right. And then let's get into the breakable walls themselves. So the breakable walls on Ormond. The breakable walls that I would break, first impressions, and of course, oh, we also got this very shitty palette, to be honest with you. That isn't going to be very good at all. This may be able to be looped a little bit right here, but not very good. It can also be a palette that spawns right here, but it's not that good. So, from what I've noticed is that there's either a breakable wall right there, where it is right now, or there's a breakable wall right here. I would always break both of these breakable walls. And the reason why I would break these breakable walls is because if you don't, it makes this window a little bit better of a window. And you don't want to have windows that are better for the survivors, and so typically you want to break the walls. This window is going to be very strong, especially because somebody can like kind of loop around and get a fastball even from this side. And so this window is going to be a force to be reckoned with, especially if you don't break the walls. Running through here, we also have a breakable wall right here. This breakable wall I would also break. There's really no reason to keep it there. I guess you don't really need to break it, but it just lets you cut it a little bit tighter, in my opinion, because if you come around this side, they can see you sooner, and so if you're a stealth killer, being able to cut a little bit closer to them and maybe get a gen grab, or just being able to cut a little bit closer in general in case you have like modern abuse, is a good thing, in my opinion. And then going upstairs to the breakable walls. We have a breakable wall right here. And then we also have a breakable wall right here. And so let's actually go into these rooms. So the breakable wall right here. I think that both these breakable walls you can just break. Actually, no. I actually want to, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think there's any reason to break these breakable walls. I think that these are pretty good to keep, especially because these breakable walls kind of counterbalance landing. Of course, they can get bounce landing by coming around all the way over here. But I would keep these breakable walls. If they have bounce landing, they can't get it as easily. And, of course, you got the God palette right there. But I wouldn't even play this palette. Even with these breakable walls gone, that palette is still really good. So just break the pallet once it's thrown down, and then leave the breakable walls there to try to counterbalance landing and stuff like that. And of course, we have a breakable wall right here. This one I would most definitely break. The reason why I'd most definitely break this wall is because it has the drop down right here, and this window is very, very strong, especially if you don't break this. If you're coming in this room and you already have the wall broken, you'll see the person running there, and so you'll be able to counter it by also dropping down with them. That's very good. And then going into this next room, got a little bit of a bed, and this window is blocked off. And of course, you got to drop down for right here. Also got a doorway coming out to here. And so that window can be chained together very well in this upstairs section. So make sure that you always break that wall that I just broke. And then, of course, you also got a god pallet right here that can be thrown down. I don't believe this is 100% spawn, but you got a god pallet right here that you can throw down. And then you can just go out with your bounce landing, or just go out take a little bit of distance from the killer. And yeah, and actually, let's show you guys. I believe we saw a totem earlier. I just want to show you guys what the totem and the hatches, or the hatches, by the way. The hatch looks like on this map, just for a different variation from the Auto Haven. So you can see in the distance on the rock pile, there's a totem. You can kind of see it blends in a little bit better than like the normal totems, I think, especially because the skulls aren't purely white. They're more of like a yellowish, and they're dirty. And then the hatch. Let's find the hatch together. Where would I be if I was a hatch? Oh, here it is. Here's the hatch. And so here's the hatch on the ground. And of course, if you close the hatch, as you can see, the hatch is kind of hard to see. Like, especially if you're not like right on top of it, if you're like looking at a distance, especially because the grass kind of grows through it. Like on this side, you can completely not even see the hatch. Like I personally don't see it. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I just do not see the hatch at all. Like right here, I do not see it at all. And so the hatch is very, very concealed. And yeah, that is pretty much it for this map. I'm gonna move on to the Auto Haven maps. Of course, all 5 of them. And I hope you guys enjoy. Alrighty, we're loading in the Wrecker's Yard. Wrecker's Yard is one of the more basic Auto Haven maps in my opinion. But spawning into it, you can see that the gates are updated. I believe this is pretty similar to the Macmillan gates, to be honest with you. But yeah, the gates are updated. This is the, I don't know what you call it, but like the semi-truck on the normal map. It is updated. Doesn't really look like a semi-truck, but it's some type of hauler. And of course, it operates the same. There's still a vault. You can vault it. Functions the same. And of course, the back part, you can no longer get on top of it. Instead, it's these like little crushed up cubes. Of course, you got the updated car, updated tires, and then these new loops. As you can see, they're actually instead of looking like trash, they look like trash. You can see there's like a little freezer, the fridge stacked up, and there's more like car cubes. And they function the same. They just normal LNT walls. There's some more tiles. These are the low wall tiles. Just more junk. There's seats, like a little TV there. Actually, very cool tiles in my opinion. See little hammers and beer bottles or beer cans. And then over here, we got the shack, which the shack is very new, very updated. You can see, like, right next to the pallet, we got a little workbench with various tools, buckets of paint, stuff like that, lighter fluid, batteries under there, clamp, motor oil. You can see, like, you can see up into the rooftop, the attic. And of course, this is a interesting little feature. There's a little bit of a like piece of sheet metal, I guess. And what this prevents is sometimes survivors will do like little sneaky plays of hiding right here while the killer goes up. And when like the killer is all the way at the top of the stairs, they'll jump down and then go for the save instantly. And this kind of prevents that a little bit. They'll still be able to do that. It's just they won't gain as much distance. But yeah, this the shack is functionally the same. Really, all the tiles are functionally the same on the Autohaven maps. Here's the I think it's a long wall. Oh no, this is just a normal jungle gym. And as you can see, they're shorter than normal. Is that a body? Oh geez, that is a body. But yeah, they're shorter than normal. We got a I don't know what that is. Oh, that's the person I have. That's my mod Polly. She's looting. She's looting extra chests. Oh my god, she's already found 2 keys and two toolboxes. But you can see the back of this tile has a dumpster. You can see there's random miscellaneous junk. Sometimes these spawn pallets. I've seen pallets spawn in between these. And then the junk tiles on the edges. Here's what they look like. Z wall. And also, you can see like the edges of the walls are updated. New fences, and there's also little tires that spawn along the walls. I don't know if we can see one. Little piece of sheet metal, like right there. I don't see any tires, but I've seen tires spawn like on the walls before. As you can see, the trees have little fungus on them. Look very nice, more detailed. Here's the 4-lane. The 4-lane looks a lot better. Has a little TV on it, but it's functionally the same, of course. More trucks, more junk. Here is the crane, as you can see. Crane is visually more updated, and you can actually walk under it. There's no collision. I know people have been having trouble with the collision of the crane as of late, but there's no collision hangups. Although there is this little bit right here, to where if you're like trying to curve with Hillbilly, you're gonna have trouble with this. Seems like there's a little bit of a hang up with the hitbox right here as well. But you're gonna have trouble hitting that as well unless you go like this way. You'll have a little bit easier of a time. And then this crane functionally is the same again, to where you can kind of look out and get the vault. You can see out a little bit better through the windows. And I don't think that you can get up here. No, you can't get up here. I can't swing up there at least. Then I think that may be it. We'll just walk around a little bit, show the rest of the map, rotate and show you guys the junk tiles. There's a truck on one of the low walled tiles now. And yeah, that is pretty much it. On to the next one. All right, and this is a Blood Lodge. Blood Lodge is one of the bigger Autohaven maps, of course. And of course, just like Wrecker's Yard, has functionally the same tiles. The main difference is going to be this actual Blood Lodge, of course. I'll rotate real quickly around it. You can see there's little junk tiles around the Blood Lodge itself. Make it a little bit harder to string together things. Blood Lodge, I've noticed, has a lot more just like random variations of junk around instead of like just normal tiles. Has these new tile types that are a little bit shorter, a little bit harder to loop, bit kind of like 50-50s. And then here is actually the Blood Lodge itself, of course. Rotate around it one more time. And then we'll go into the Blood Lodge. As you can see, there's a vault right here, and there's also a vault right here, I believe. But you can get different variations. Sometimes this this door will be blocked, and then that one will be open. And usually, if that one's open, then this vault is available. And if this this one's open, this vault's available, of course. And these vaults are pretty good. You can obviously break this door and try to make the vault not as good. If you're gonna loop, so like this window being open, you should break this wall. In my opinion, break that wall, and essentially what that does is if they try to loop you, you can push them this way, and they'll medium vault through, and you'll be able to hit them. But the danger with this window is that if they approach it, if they just don't even go for the doorway and they just go for here, it's going to be a pretty strong loop nonetheless. They're still going to be able to gain enough distance, especially with you coming through the door, to be able to go around and make another loop. And so it's a pretty strong window. So pretty good. And so it's a buff to the actual Blood Lodge building itself. You can see inside the Blood Lodge, there's a little bit of herbs hanging from the ceiling. There's a little cozy fire, which I didn't really like. Going upstairs, we got a locker up here, a singular locker. Oh no, we got 2 lockers. A little teddy bear. It's very cute. And you also got the drop off, so you can get your balanced landing off, stuff like that. And then we also got this hole where you can also get your balanced landing off. And a small thing about this hole, I don't know if it's going to be patched. Oh, we got a totem spot up here as well. The new totems. A small thing about this hole is that you can actually get around it. Some survivors will try to like bait you into like falling down here by sitting back here, but yeah, you can just get around it. Maybe get some stealth plays. Some wheels on the wall. Yeah, pretty good update altogether, but it does seem like a buff to this this main building. And I think both variations of these walls, because people like to ask me my opinion on the variations of the breakable walls, I think both of them you should break no matter what, because it doesn't really seem to benefit the killer anyway, just keeping the walls up. Of course, we're going to go around and look at the tiles. I'll just walk around and show you what the map looks like as a whole. Show you the little junk everywhere. We'll be able to show you guys the school buses over here. And as you can see, the map is very clear. You can see people from pretty far away. So here's the new school bus. Has a little bit of moss on it, which I think looks very cool. Here's the God bus variation, with a very important distinction. The God bus variation, of course, people call this God bus just because it's very strong. You can see that the window is no longer right here. They actually shifted it a little bit to the left, making it to where you have to come around and then hit the vault. I believe you can still fast vault this. It's just it takes a little bit more effort to fast vault it. But yeah, this is a slight nerf to the God bus, but it's still very good in all honesty. Some newspapers plastered on the wall. I don't know if it says anything. Behavior times. The killer strikes again. It's kind of funny. There's the bus. Of course, some more loops. That's the tire. The sheet metal on the edge wall. I just love how small these loops are. It's so cute. And yeah. So it looks like this this map is pretty much the same size. Looks like it's still pretty big. Which is kind of unfortunate, but it's pretty open, which is good. Be able to see out for a pretty long ways, be able to see people, and so hopefully it is not that bad. And well, not look. I'm gonna show you guys the actual hill itself, in case you guys haven't seen it. Actual hill itself, a little mossy, same as the Macmillan. Just has a green tint to it. Of course, here's the hook. Little twigs on it. I guess, and I'm guessing that's little twig just because it's the wraith. That's the wraith map type. Yeah, on to the next one. Alright, we're spawning into Azarov's resting place. If you guys don't know how this map is laid out, it's shaped like a capital I. You can imagine that. Of course, like the other maps, it has basic little junk wall tiles. And it does seem like a thing of note is that the junk wall tiles, the small wall tiles, are a little bit bigger. So this is a bit of a nerf to Deathslinger and Huntress. Of course, Deathslinger, you can probably shoot through these holes. Not as bad for Deathslinger, I suppose. Yeah, something of note. Of course, the shack has the new windows where you can see line of sights, which, if you guys didn't know, this is very good for a lot of killer just information, but especially good for nurse. One of the biggest concerns going into this was line of sights when you're playing nurse, especially because there's a lot of line of sights that you can get on auto haven tiles, and they took away a lot of those line of sights. You can see that they're pretty solid walls. On the current build, the old version, there you can see through little holes in the walls, but you can't do that so much anymore. Of course, here's the little the puller. And so we're on the shack side, and then of course we're going through the middle of the eye. I'll just walk through here, like do the little serpentine so you guys can see the map. Of course, here's the junk wall tile. I really like these. Like, I don't know why, but this like adds a cool little charm to the game, in my opinion. Little bag of chips and beer, in front of a TV, a little vending machine. Of course, just normal tiles over there. Got a hill. And then right here, we have the actual office. And so this building is completely redone. On the live servers, it's the small building that'll have like usually around 3 vaults, and it's very unsafe on the live build. But in the updated build, this building is a lot better. So this is a survivor buff right here. I'm gonna walk around it a little bit. All visitors must sign in. With little cars all around it. You can actually see into this car, which is pretty cool. I think all the papers say the same thing. Actually, wait, that says something else. The survivor said something. I actually can't see that. Oh, if you guys know what that says, be sure to tell me. It says survivor said something. Little pizza box. And of course, we got the office itself. So the office, we'll hop in this window, has a window. And also, like, you can spawn the killer's base in here. But it has a window, and it'll always spawn with one break wall, either right here or right there. This window is very strong, especially because you can loop the window and then loop around this way. Obviously, if you're playing killer, you want to try to loop going outwards, so they get medium vaults. You don't want them to get fast vaults, and so you always want to break this wall. This is one of the walls that you always want to break. And again, if it's on the other side, you want to break that as well, because that just enhances the loop if you don't break it. So always break these. Say January 1972. Which is pretty cool. You see a little cash for Rex. I just love all the little things everywhere. And I wonder if somebody is gonna have to look through these and try to like analyze and see if there's any like little information on these pages. I'm guessing that's all scribbles when it's like the small print, but I'm very curious. But yeah, that is pretty much it. And on to the next one. All right, we are spawning into Wretched Shop. Started the recording a little bit late there. And Wretched Shop is another just kind of basic map. It does have a main building, and of course, here's the shack. I'll show you guys the shack variation. This is a big dead zone. I've noticed a lot of dead zones with the Oddhaven maps, if I'm going to be honest with you. But there's a dead zone. The tiles seem to have spawned semi the same. And then the main thing of this map, of course, is the main building. And this main building seems pretty intact. It doesn't really seem like they did much to it. We got a pallet that spawns here, obviously, which is okay pallet. It's not the best. It has a little bit of play around with it, especially if you drop it and keep on running. Killer will lose a lot of distance. And we got another pallet that spawns here. These two pallets seem to spawn all the time. We got a little break right there. Maybe some Huntress mains can get a hit like that. And then, of course, we got this window, which this window can be strung together. Yeah, can be strung together very well. If the killer doesn't break that wall, then, of course, the window is pretty much a god loop, and so they have to break it. And so I would always recommend breaking this wall. There's never a situation where I think it would benefit you to not break it. And then, of course, we got a little bit of a workbench here. The drill, the board, a bunch of tools. Again, January 1972. Past due bill. And the tires in the corner. Of course, we got the generator. We got the car with actually headlights on, as you can see, which is really cool. And then it appears, I don't know if you guys know the live build, there's normally tires right here. The tires are no longer here. So I wonder if a totem still spawns in this corner. It's very curious. Wonder if it does. And yeah, just look around the map a little bit again. And the maps do seem, in all honesty, I think the maps are the same size, but they do seem a little bit smaller in a way. At least to me, maybe I'm going crazy, just because they are a little bit more open. So yeah, and here's another loop. It's a pretty okay loop, not the best, but it's okay. Probably loop it this way, and of course this is gonna ruin a lot of Huntress mains. This right here, you can still hit over the back end, but it's still very tight. So if you're going against Huntress, probably loop this way. And yeah, that is pretty much it. Oh, I just noticed before I move on to the next map, the final Autohaven map, you can kind of see under there. You can kind of see survivors hiding if they're on the other side. Right, that is very nice. Right, and we'll move on to the next one. See you guys there. All right, so we're spawning into Gas Heaven, the final Autohaven map. Gas Heaven, of course, is known for the giant car piles and, of course, the gas station itself. I'll walk around and show you the car piles. The car piles are a lot more detailed. One thing of note with the car piles is you can see kind of through the car piles a little bit more. I kind of do wonder if you can shoot through these with Deathslinger. I haven't tested that yet, but it kind of looks like you can. And so that'll be some interesting shots for Deathslinger mains to try to get. Walking around the car pile. Of course, we got this loop over here. And one thing of note with these loops, I was talking about nurse mains earlier. Oh, this looks like an executioner gauge. A lot of the line of sights were pretty much destroyed with this update because it's just solid blocks. But this one line of sight that has remained, you can see the survivor through here. And so if you're playing Deathslinger or Nurse, this is something that you can exploit to a very good extent. Or if you're playing Deathslinger, you could probably line up a shot to that window. I think that's that window right there. Yeah, it is. You could line up a shot to that window and be able to hit somebody as they're going to the window. And so that's very good. And if you're playing Nurse, you can obviously use this to zero in on people's positions. Walk around the car pile again. See that there's a pallet that spawned here in between. Chaining the tiles together. And of course, we got the actual Gas Heaven. Sign looking very, very nice. The S blinking. You can actually hear the S turning on and off. Oh, it's permanently on now. Oh. Okay. It says, welcome. Junkyard sandwich. Best price, $4.29. All right. Got this tile here, and this tile does spawn a pallet. I have seen it spawn a pallet, but it doesn't look like it's 100% spawn. This tile always spawns, as far as I've seen. I've played this map like 4 or 5 times, and it's always spawned there. I could be wrong, though. Of course, we got the little gas pumps. Little tanks next to it. Got a little sign saying open 24 hours. Oh, hello. Got a little shopkeep. All right, and then going into the actual gas station, we have stuff stocking the shelves. We got little teddy bears, and then we got some cereal boxes and just other canned food. That's in the freezers, though. Got some beer in the fridge, some milk, and then we have the actual garage portion. It's a garage portion, again, functionally the same. This loop is still pretty decent. Of course, Huntresses can't really hit over this because of the tires. But thing of note is that we have these breakable walls here. And now these breakable walls are a bit interesting because in my opinion, these breakable walls you don't want to break unless a certain thing has happened. So this generator right here actually activates this garage door. If the generator gets completed, the garage door opens, and this wall opens up. And so if this wall is opened up, if they have already completed this gen, I think it is worth it to break these pallets, because if you break them, then it'll give you a little bit more map ability, and you'll be able to do a lot more with that. But especially if the pallet is still here. But if the door isn't powered because this gen isn't complete, I want to break these, because if you don't break them, then when you come into this place, there's only one way in and one way out, and so you can more possibly get a hit or break the pallet. And I don't think it really matters which way you break these. Sometimes this window is open, and you may not want to break this pallet, or not this pallet, but this door, because of this maybe being chained together in a kind of a dirty way. But yeah, I think it's worth it to at least open up one, if not both. And then, of course, we have this breakable wall up here. And I think this breakable wall is always worth breaking. It makes this window super strong if it stays there. And so I would always break that breakable wall. I don't think there's ever an instance where you wouldn't break it. Of course, we have the cash register right here. A little bit of a espresso machine, coffee machine. And yeah, a little gas oven. Got a pallet back here as well. More junk tiles. Well, gas oven symbol right there. And one thing of note is this is a bit of a gameplay change as well. This normally there's a quite a long junk pile right here, but they've condensed it down into just this. And I've seen people chaining that together, like a long junk pile right here on the old version of the Auto Haven of Gas Heaven, and they can chain that together into this pallet as well, and you can no longer do that. And so this pallet is pretty much just for like running through and dropping and then going on, so that the killer can't catch up to you as fast, because it takes them like a second or two to get around it, or for breaking bloodlust from throwing it down. And yeah, that is pretty much it. And then for the survivor perks, we have 3 teachable perks on LED. We have appraisal. You have careful eyes that notice what many overlook. Start the trial with 3 tokens. When a chest has already been opened, consume a token to search for an item. You unlock chests 80% faster. And that's a bit interesting, because if you open up one chest, you can pull 3 items out of that chest on top of the item that you already find. It's pretty decent. Could synergize really well with plunders. We got deception. Your adventurous lifestyle requires moments of crafty misdirection. Interacting with a locker while sprinting will trigger a loud noise notification at your location and cause you to leave no scratch marks for 3 seconds. You no longer enter lockers while sprinting, and while this perk is active. Has a 40-second cooldown. And so what this pretty much does is you can run out of a locker. It'll slam the locker without you getting in it, make a noise notification for 3 seconds so you have no scratch marks, so you can maybe misdirect the killer a little bit. And then we've got power struggle. You've never given up and you're not about to start now. While being carried by the killer, reaching 25% wiggle progress will activate power struggle. While power struggle is active, you can drop a nearby standing pallet to stun the killer. And of course, you don't have to stun the killer, but if you're close enough to it, you can drop it. And it deactivates once it's successful, and you can't use it for the rest of the match. And so if you get a 25%, if the killer walks through a pallet for some reason, then you can just drop it on their face, which is a cool little niche perk. And then on the killer side, of course, we have the twins. And the twins have 3 teachable perks. Hoarder. You protect what little you have and are perceptive to those rummaging through your stockpiles. Receive a loud noise notification when a survivor interacts with a chest, or when they pick up an item within 48 meters of your location. The trial begins with up to 2 additional chests in the environment. The rarity of the items found in the chest is decreased. And so this is very interesting. 48 meters isn't great. I kind of wish it was unlimited. You spawn in 2 additional chests, which also isn't that great because another opportunity to find medkits and toolboxes and stuff like that. But what's interesting about this perk is that, or the most interesting part, is that it reduces the rarity of items that you find. And so hopefully this would be a key counter. And if it actually did counter keys pretty well, that could be decent with combining with Franklin's. But of course, like, why would you not just run Franklin's then, I guess? But yeah, it's decent to prevent people from getting really good items. And then we also got oppression. Life has been difficult for you, so you'll make it difficult for others. When you damage a generator, up to 3 other random generators will start regressing. If the affected generators are being repaired, any survivor repairing them will receive a difficult skill check. Oppression has a cooldown of 80 seconds at tier 3. And so most likely somebody's going to be working on a generator at all times, and so the regression is not really going to matter all that much. Really, the main thing about this is going to be the missed skill check, because as soon as they miss a skill check, the gens stop progressing. Or if they succeed at it, the gens stop progressing. And so what you can do is you can run this with like Huntress Lullaby and any other thing, and it could synergize pretty well with that. And then we got coup de grace, I believe is how you say it. I could be wrong. As the end nears, you go in for the kill. Each time a generator is completed, coup de grace grows in power, gaining a token. So you can get up to 5 tokens for each generator, for 5 generators. Consume 1 token to increase the distance of your next lunge attack by 100%. So you can double your lunge range, which can be very, very powerful, as you will see in the clips that I'm going to show just now. We're going to do the survivor clips showing the survivor perks going, and then the killer perks going. So this is appraisal. We got a chest right here. Going up to it, we actually search it 80% faster. You can see the gold bar on the bottom. And then, oh, we got a brown medkit. And then we can actually consume a token. We can rummage through. And we can get a yellow one. And we can actually do it again. Or we can rummage through again. And, oh, we got a pink key. No plunders or anything. And then we can rummage through again. Like the little demons behind me. Yeah, little demons behind me. Yeah, we got a green toolbox. So, with no plunders, we got a green toolbox. Got a yellow toolbox. We got a brown medkit. And then we got a skeleton key, a pink key. Which is a pretty good haul. And that's all from one chest. One chest, we got 4 items with the appraisal perk. The initial item from the chest, and then 3 from the appraisal perk. That is pretty good. That's pretty good gifts that you can leave your teammates. Especially with plunders, you can turn that into some pretty good items. Alright, and so the perk Deception, the way the perk Deception works is it only activates when you're running. So you can see when I hold shift and run around, it actually turns on. So I'm letting go and pressing shift over and over and over. And so when we press shift and we go up to a locker, we can get the Fate option. And so we'll go up to it and we'll Fate, and it'll quickly open and close it. And then when it does that, it makes a notification for the killer, and we don't leave scratch marks for 3 seconds. And it doesn't give us any indication how long 3 seconds is. It's just we gotta count on it. And but we can probably get from like the door and count. So we do it, and then 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. So we'd be like almost to this tile. And so it's enough to make the killer like hesitate for a second, like, oh, where did they go? And then maybe gain a little bit of extra ground with it. Alrighty, and then with the perk Power Struggle, if you get at least 25% of your wiggle bar, you can, when the killer comes to a pallet, you can actually drop it, and you can save yourself. But once you use it once, then you can't use it for the rest of the game, so if the killer ever downs you again, you can no longer use the perk. So only 1 use per game. Alrighty, so this is showing off the perk quarter. And of course, that chest down there is looted and within 48 meters, so of course we get the notification. And I think they're looting it again because of the appraisal perk. I wonder if the appraisal perk actually activates it twice. Doesn't appear it does. Oh, they picked up the item. You guys saw that? So they dropped their item and then they picked up, and we got a notification on that as well. That's the Hoarder perk. As you can also see, there's multiple items on that hill. And whenever they get picked up, either out of the chest or from off the ground, we get little notification procs whenever that happens. And so that's how the Hoarder perk works. And of course, if we're outside of 48 meters, that no longer works. But as you can see, 48 meters is still pretty far away. And I think we're outside of the range now. So like we're no longer within 48 meters right here. And yeah, so like whenever they open a chest or whenever they pick up an item within 48 meters of us, they a notification happens. And I don't believe they get notified. It's just something that we only see. It's not like Infectious Fright where they scream. Right, and the next perk is going to be Oppression. Oppression, the way it works is when I kick a generator, 3 random generators on the map get a overcharged skill check. So as you can see, she's working on that one over there, and she got an overcharged skill check. And if she misses it, then of course it regresses the gen by a little bit. That synergizes very well with like Huntress' Lullaby, and also synergizes with like Freddy has add-ons that also make it to where when survivors miss skill checks, they regresses more of the progress on whatever they're doing, and so it has a little bit of synergy with other perks. And then finally we have Coup de Grace, which Coup de Grace, the way it works is whenever a gen gets completed, as you can see, we have 1 token. Whenever a gen gets completed, we get pretty much a doubled lunge range. And so we're gonna walk at this corner, and then when I reach the corner, I'm gonna swing. I'm gonna show you guys how far I can get, and then we're gonna do it with a normal lunge. So we're gonna walk to it and then swing. And I got to about right here, as you can see, about right there, about even with this tree. And then without the perk, we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna walk and then swing, and then we make it to the edge of the window. And so we can back up a little bit, and you can see the edge of the window is where I hit without the perk, and the about even with this tree is where I hit with the perk. And so it's quite substantial, the amount of distance you actually gain from this perk. And again, you get a token every time a gen completes, and so you can get a total of 5 tokens throughout the entire match. Alrighty, so the way that this killer works is this killer has the prompt to unbind Victor. When you unbind Victor, you actually come out as this little demon dude, and the actual killer themselves stays here immobile. And at any moment, you can press left control, or whatever your secondary power button is, to gain back control of the normal killer, and you can move around just fine after a small cooldown. And then the demon dude will stay there as well. But when the demon dude is vulnerable like this, they can actually be kicked by the survivors. So when you have your demon dude, you typically want to hide them in places. Otherwise, survivors can just walk up to him and just kick him, and then he'll have to respawn. And as you can see, when I switch, he also has on the left, he also has a little bit of a timer on him to where if that timer runs out, then he actually dies as well, and he gets sent back to you. And so with this little demon dude with Victor, the way he works is he presses M2 to pounce. You hold M2 and you go very slow, and you press M1 to fully commit to the pounce. It's very similar to the Demogorgon Shred, with one key difference. You have a little bit of verticality to it, so you can actually jump over loops, as you see. But the big danger to this is that if you jump onto loops, let me see if I can jump onto something real quick. Let's jump onto this. If you jump onto something that is bigger than Victor, he will actually die. So if you jump onto anything that is bigger than Victor, he'll actually die. And so you want to try to avoid things that are bigger than him and try not to do that. And so if you're going after a survivor, typically you want to get close to them and then M2 them. And when you M2 them, you latch onto them, and then the survivor has to throw them off. And if they don't throw them off, then they just pretty much kidnap your child. They won't be able to heal. They won't be able to do gens or do anything like that. They can still save people, and that's pretty much all they can do. They can save people. They can escape through the hatch. So they're useless to their team, but of course, if they don't let go of your child, there's no way for you to recall it, and you're just a basic M1 killer. And of course, when the server throws them down, they throw the child on the ground and they die, and they respawn for you. And then you can also unbind Victor, and then go after them again, where you can pounce. Oh, we missed. You can pounce and attack them. And so if the survivor is injured, they go down. If they're healthy, Victor actually clutches to their body and is kind of a pain, unless they just want to kidnap him, of course. All right, so with the little demon dude, one of the biggest counterplays to him. Oh, she messed it up because she has the perk. One of the biggest counterplays to him is lockers. So if somebody gets into a locker, you actually can't pull them out of the locker. And if you try to attack it, it does nothing, of course. You just go into your stun. And then I can try to do it again. I can try to attack her. And nope, she just went into the locker again. And so I can try to fake it by having her come out and then trying to go back and do my power. But of course, that has the wind up, and so a smart survivor will just keep on evading you with the locker. And then, of course, if you miss an attack, all right, and if you miss an attack, say you're trying to get them before they get into the locker, they can actually hop out of the locker in time and roundhouse kick you and kill you. And so lockers are the biggest counterplay to Victor. Lockers essentially make his power useless, and I hope that the developers address that. I guess we'll see. All right, and of course, this is the Mori for the twins. The twins actually have. All right, and of course, this is the Mori for the twins. The twins actually have two different variations of their Mori, one with Victor and one without Victor. So if you have Victor within Charlotte, the sister, it's actually different than if he is out and about. And so here's the first one, and then followed by the second one. Enjoy. And that is it for the PTB overview video. If you guys enjoyed this, uh, I'm sorry if it's shitty quality or anything like that. I'm doing this on like 2 hours of sleep, and I'm just trying to quickly push this out there just so you guys can see this um, before I go to bed. And so thank you guys for watching this far, and I really do appreciate you guys' support. There should be continuing to be daily uploads. I'll probably be an upload today sometime, maybe. And in addition to this one, I mean. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. If you have any questions about the PTB, of course, you can come into my stream, twitch.tv/trickstershadow. I played this PTB pretty extensively, and so I'll probably know most of the questions that you could be asking. I'll know the answers to them. And I will see you guys on there, or see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye, everyone.